Welcome back to another episode of the Triple Play Podcast. I am Nick Koski alongside my co-host Owen Oszust, and we are fresh off of Game 5, Pistons Magic. Pistons ended up getting it done today, but it's been, an uphill battle this entire series. Excited to give a fresh reaction, and, I'll kick it to you, Owen, to give your initial thoughts on what this game meant for the Pistons and, what do you think about this series moving forward?
Yeah, well, first off, just want to state the Pistons won 116 to 109 to force game 6. That will be Friday in Orlando, which is a big one. We've seen in the past Detroit has struggled to win at LCA, but now you get back-to-back home games that they've played at LCA that they've now won. So that's a good sign as well. I mean, it was really in the nitty gritty to make it simple. It was the battle of the two stars, Bankero versus Cade Cunningham. I mean, what a battle! How much fun was that watching that down the stretch to see those guys go back and forth like that, just exchanging threes. Um, Cade Cunningham sets a franchise playoff record for the most points with 45. I mean, the dude was balling. He made all 14 of his free throws. He was 5 for 8 from beyond the arc. He said in this post game press conference very shortly after the game that he was fighting till the end. Like he did not want to go out, and that's what you want from your star. And I think he absolutely showed that tonight, especially after a performance in Game 4 where he turned over the basketball a lot. I think there was a lot of really good signs from him. I think Asar Thompson was good. 15 rebounds, only 6 points, but he had some big plays down the stretch, had some big blocks as well. Um, and you know what? And the Pistons got it done. That's really all that matters. Survive in advance at the moment. So you force a game 6. The series now gets a little bit more interesting going back to Orlando. And if you get it back to Detroit for game 7, you feel really good about your chances, but you still got to win game 6. So.
Yeah, it was an amazing game from Cade Cunningham. There's a lot of, hate that he got from the last game with his
Mhm.
overall shooting performance, turning the ball over, and just getting 44 minutes out of your star player. I know he had the collapsed lung however many weeks ago, and he's probably still working on getting his endurance back to, where it was in the middle of the regular season. He laid it all out on the floor tonight. 45 points, 13 of 23 shooting, shot 100% from the free throw line, 14 for 14. That's something that really plagued the Pistons in game 4 was their inability to shoot free throws down the line in that game,
And
and it really cost them.
I think that was the difference too with the Magic. They missed a lot of free throws down the stretch as well. It's just one category, but that's kind of shown in ways who wins the playoff game. So Orlando missed a lot of free throws, and it will be interesting to see if that trend continues then into game 6 because especially the way they were calling some of those plays, I think that could be critical, especially to extend the series to game 7 as well.
Yeah, and another, thing that came out of that game, Jalen Duren, he had 7 points right out of the gate, and then you really didn't hear from him until,
Mhm.
the fourth quarter of that game. He got in a little bit of foul trouble. Isaiah Stewart had 20 total minutes and against Duren where he had 28 total minutes. Duran is just, it still seems like there's something off, with a lot of the success he had scoring early. You thought that maybe he was going to get over the hump, maybe he was going to get hot in this game. And then he just kind of fizzled out and was a non-factor until he made a few crucial plays, down the line in the fourth quarter of that game. He was out rebound by Sar Thompson. You mentioned the 15 rebounds. Jalen Duren only had 9 rebounds.
Mhm.
It's just I starting to feel like when Isaiah Stewart is on the floor, he's having more of an impact than Jalen Duren in this series. The minutes still, on the side of Jalen Duren, but I think moving forward, Isaiah Stewart, he had only 5 points, didn't shoot the ball much, but his impact is just felt when it comes to hustle, when it comes to blocks on the defensive side of the game. And
Mhm.
Isaiah Stewart's plus minus was 10 in this game. Duran's was -3. So it kind of tells a story of where the Pistons are at. They just have not been able to get Jalen Duran going up to this point, and I
Yep.
honestly don't think that. that's going to change for the next two games of the series. I think they're going to have to do it without their second best player, being able to perform to the level that he's been able to perform throughout the regular season.
I also want to say, give some credit stat muse with this interesting one. Asar Thompson with the stat line of 15 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks, joins Charles Barkley as the only player in playoff history with those exact numbers in a single game. So, kind of a fun fact right there. Also, like, talked about it already, but Apollo Banchero was awesome. That's the only reason why Orlando was in this game. I think Franz Wagner's presence was very much missed in this game. It could have been the difference. If Franz played in this game, Orlando might be moving on. But Paulo had 45 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. Only LeBron recorded those numbers in a playoff game at a younger age. So, two rising stars in the NBA with Kate Cunningham and Paulo Banchero right now, and they're balling out. It's going to be interesting to see what Game 6 looks like, and what I guess going to Orlando maybe does to the Magic, and also can they get back Franz Wagner? We'll see.
I think that's going to be, the tail of the tape of how the series goes is can they get Franz Wagner healthy and back in time for game six? When the game initially ended, I had a really grim outlook on the rest of the series. They were without Franz. It took 45 points from Cade Cunningham, literally everything from your star. And, they only won the game by 7 points, and it really came
Yep.
down to the wire. The game honestly felt closer than 7 points throughout the final few minutes.
Yeah.
But the crazy stat that came up after, the game concluded and we were just doing all of our research before the podcast is the Magic shot 45% from three. For a team that has been so terrible from three
Mhm.
all playoffs and frankly all regular season, that was just the craziest stat that they were able to shoot at a 45% clip throughout this game.
But then they cowered it with shooting 53% from the free throw line. They were 16 for 30, and that's not going to cut it. So I mean that kind of balanced things out. And Detroit shot 80% from the charity stripe. So I think those are a big difference right there. Yes, Orlando shot it really well from beyond the arc, but again, you got to make some of your free throws. So I think that made a big difference. But
Now, I want to go towards what you think that your series outlook is going to be or what your predictions are for how this series is going to end. I can give mine really quickly.
mhm.
I think the Magic are going to get Franz back, and I think they're going to take care of the Pistons in game six.
Wow. I don't know. I seriously have no idea if Franz is back. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the severity of it is. If it wasn't bad, he would have played tonight. I fully believe that, but it must be a bad situation. Um, my guess is he's not going to be able to go for game 6, but he'll try it in game 7, and the Pistons win the series. It's a bold, bold take right there, but we'll see. If Cade Cunningham continues to keep playing like this version of Cade Cunningham without Franz Wagner on the court, I think good things can happen for Detroit. But still got 2 more wins you got to take care of on the weekend.
Yeah, thinking back to is Franz going to play in game six? This is something that, plagued a lot of teams in the playoffs last season was guys that had, strained calves or calf issues that
Mhm.
kind of pushed it and decided to go. I'm thinking, Halliburton, Tatum. Those guys ended with torn Achilles and a more severe injury that lingered throughout this entire season. For those
Mhm.
guys, it's probably definitely very cautious on the Magic side, and maybe they will hold him out of game six. But like you said, if they're in game seven in Detroit, there's no chance that he's gonna sit on the sideline with a strained calf.
No, probably not. I like again. What is the severity of his injury? We don't know that. So we'll see. But it was a big night for Detroit. Didn't seem like the LCA was full, but if they bring it back for Game 7, I think that place will be packed. So um,
Well,
that's the difference a couple ones can do.
well, I'm glad that if the Pistons would have lost tonight, they for sure would have gone down as the worst one seed of all time.
It's true.
They save that image a little bit. They've done it in the past where they have come back from down 3-1 to the Orlando Magic. They're one of the teams that have done that in the past. So hopefully a
Mhm.
good omen moving forward. Hopefully they can get it done in game 6 and at least bring the team back to, the home crowd in Detroit and put the pressure on Orlando. Because again, Orlando's a young team like the Pistons. They could easily crack under their pressure because it's not like they have playoff experience similar to the Pistons roster.
I think a big difference too, and we've seen this, even though the NBA is all about finishing games, and I still think that's the case. I think how a team in this series starts a game can really show how it finishes as well. Like Detroit got out to a really good start in this game, went on to win. Orlando had a much better start in game 4 and 3. It felt like the Pistons got out to a better start in game 2, but I think setting that tempo at the beginning, throwing that first punch can be critical for game 6. So we'll see if Detroit can keep that going.
Well, the Pistons can't play well from behind because they're a
Right.
defensive minded team. They don't have the offense to really get back in games and sustain that. It's very critical, like you mentioned, that they get a fast start to these games, get out ahead because if they're chasing for the majority of the time in a game, they're probably not going to be able to come all the way back. And you saw it at the end of this game. It's, 2 minutes left and they're just flat out doubling Cade Cunningham. The Pistons are trying to run the pick and roll. The guy on the backside of the pick is just hedging the screen, and they're just putting both guys on Cade Cunningham. They were daring Tobias Harris in the final. I believe it was 2 minutes. He was wide open for a three. Tobias did not shoot it and looked
Hmm.
to get the ball back to Cade Cunningham, even though Cade Cunningham was double teamed. Like the Pistons are going to live and die by Cade Cunningham in the final 2 minutes of a game trying to score against a double team. And honestly, I
Yep.
think that's their best chance to score in those situations because guys like Dennis Jenkins, or we saw the other day in game 4, having Karis LeVert take a crunch time three and airballing it is
Yep.
not how you want to lose a game. I would much rather have my star player who has earned the right to take that shot throw up a three or drive to the basket double team than having to watch Karis LeVert take a crunch time three, airball it, or having to watch, Tobias Harris do the exact same thing. Tobias is not a good 3-point shooter in the series, in the playoffs. He is just completely, you know, unperformed from the 3-point line in the series. And that's very well hurt the Pistons for your guy that right now is your number two guy on offense for scoring. Like we were talking
Which
about this
he
earlier,
shouldn't be.
Owen.
Like I don't think
Yeah.
he should be. Yeah, like he's a veteran guy. I think he would be like a great 4 option, solid 3, but he's not a number 2 guy you want to go to in the playoffs. And if he's that number 2 scorer on this roster, it really raises a level concern. That's why you want to get Jalen Duren back to the level that he was at, but maybe that doesn't happen in this series. But if the Pistons do find a way to advance, maybe they can get that going in round 2. But we still got 2 games to win again.
Yeah, I said it in a previous iteration of the podcast, but I was most worried about the first series. I think if they can get past this series, get a little bit of momentum, I think they can win the next round and at least have a shot at
Mhm.
the finals in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do I think they're going to get there after watching how bad they've performed throughout this, playoff series? Absolutely not. But
Mhm.
I always thought that even though it shouldn't be since it's a 1 versus 8 seed, that the first series was going to be the most difficult for them.
You want to shift gears now to the Tigers real quick?
I definitely don't want to talk about the tires because it is the most disappointing thing. But yeah, let's do it. You guys are going to hear a rant session on how much the Tigers have been frustrating us, especially their bullpen.
Okay, first off, I just want to state this. So this is Wednesday, April 29th. So a lot of baseball will be played. But the Tigers tonight fell to the Braves 4-3. Detroit has now fallen below 500 at 15-16 overall, but they still sit at the top of the AL Central Division, which shows how weak the American League Central is. Also, the American League in general is just a weak league right now because I think it's 3 teams sit at above 500 at the moment. And then you got the Tigers and Guardians right there at the top of the AL Central, both below 500. So, um, Terry Skubal, solid game. Riley Green had a homer. Kevin McGonigal got on base. Like a lot of positive things to take from it. So it's not all bad. I'm not going to hate on all of it. I think it's always good to start with the positive. The other positive, the Atlanta Braves are really good. So you're facing the best of the best right now, and you just played a Cincinnati Reds team that is really good as well. That is currently in the playoffs if they ended today. But um, the major concern, like Terry Schiavo, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out seven. That's really good. The problem is the bullpen has not been good. Even though Kyle Finnegan got through a scoreless inning, he walked 2 guys. And the reason why that's a concern is because he has continued to keep on walking dudes. Um, it's very early in the season, but it's now 10 walks and 14 and a third innings for Kyle Finnegan. You can't take that from your setup guy. And then you get to the final exclamation mark on this game when Kenley Jansen gave up a 2-run shot to Matt Olson, which you know, might seem not significant unless you look at the fact that he's now blown 3 saves as a Tiger in 9 chances and two in a row, both via walk-off homers. Just to compare him, he's now blown 3 saves and has an ERA of 6.14 in his first month as a Detroit Tiger. We've obviously had some bad closers come through Detroit before, like Joe Nathan, for example, in his first month as a Tiger. He had 2 blown saves in ERA of 5.06. And then Francisco Rodriguez, he had 1 blown save with a 5.19 ERA. So Kenley Jansen, in recent memory, has had the worst start to a Tigers career for a closer in a minute. So, not to a great start. Um, a bunch of guys have been very shaky in the bullpen, which, once again, Scott Harris made signings, but they were veteran guys that are at the end of their careers. Kenley Jansen has been a fantastic closer throughout his entire career, mostly with the Dodgers, Red Sox, even made a stop with the Braves. But boy, he shouldn't be on the Tigers roster come October. If it's going to continue like this, you just can't have that. You can't have it.
Yeah, you can say it's early in the season, whatever. We have enough of a sample size that this is clearly going to be a problem for the Detroit Tigers, and this is going to plague them until the trade deadline, and then we'll see if they actually want to add a guy. I don't
You know
know
what
if
they'll do?
if they're
They'll
going to.
trade. Who is the oldest reliever you can think of right now that
Yeah,
you could
I
trade for?
it Scott Harris just has this like fixation of older pitchers, and it is
Yeah.
the most frustrating thing. And you could have seen this from a mile away. Even when they signed Kenley Jansen, he had a really good year last year, but Father Time is going to catch up to you,
No
and
offense,
it
but
has
look
caught up
look at
to Kenley
Justin
Jansen.
Verlander too. Look at Justin Verlander.
Yeah, as much as the nostalgia hit like crazy. I mean, Verlander hasn't.
You loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. I love the nostalgia. Maybe I'll go buy a Verlander jersey, but like this fixation with old pitchers, and then it was like guys like Ken or Tommy Kahnle last year too. Like there's just like this weird fixation with like really out there pitchers and in the bullpen, guys that are going to throw like really slow meatballs that, Kenley Jansen is going to hang a cutter over the middle of the plate. And the most frustrating part about that at bat, well, first I'll go the bat before you walk the leadoff guy as a closer. That is just, I mean, once that happened, I knew the game was going to be over. I was actually on
Mhm.
the phone with Colin Nitel when this game was going on. And before the home run happened, you can talk to Colin. I was like, Kenley's gonna hang one and he's gonna hit a home run and it's gonna be over. And it's a 1-2 count. All right. He had the batter down 0-2. He throws the third pitch in the dirt. And then the next pitch, like, you're up in the count. It's 1-2. Low in the zone, runner on first, try and get the double play ball. And it's just like, I mean, that pitch missed. It was like the most center cut hanging cutter I think
Mhm.
I've ever seen in my life. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't even close to like he didn't miss inside. He didn't miss like high. He didn't miss like slightly outside. He didn't miss slightly low. Like this dude put that pitch center
Mm,
cut, hanging cutter. And it
mm.
was just, those pitches aren't going to be missed in Major League Baseball. And it's devastating. The Tigers have had, you can count like 3 or 4 games this season that they have just lost like in devastating fashion. And it's hard to lose a devastating game in April, but like the Tigers have done it at least like 4 times to start the year. And these are games when you're up on Cleveland late in the season and they're making their little bit of a run, putting the pressure on you and they're chasing you like they did last year. These are going to be the games that you look back on and say, I wish I would have had that one in April because now I wouldn't be worrying about Cleveland, overtaking us for the last playoff spot. Like
Well,
it's just been some frustrating, heartbreaking losses for an April baseball team.
I would just like to point out as well the Tigers' record right now, as I mentioned, 15-16. Do you know, Nick, off the top of your head, unless you're looking at it, their away record at the moment?
I mean, it's pretty abysmal. They're like 10-2 at home.
They're 10-2
Or
at
like,
home and
yeah.
away on the road. The Detroit Tigers are currently 5-14.
Look,
5
here
and 14.
I'm gonna go
That
on
is
another rant.
that is it's
I
it's
the
actually
te
percentage wise it's right there with the worst. I have there's one other one that's close, but
well the Tigers, they do not beat good teams. And like we can honestly be frank and call it out. It's the same thing last year. They don't beat good teams and they feast on a weak AL Central. And that's how they're going to make the playoffs this year.
yeah,
Like that is just fact. It's what they did last year. It's what they did the year before. Every team in the AL Central is currently below 500. And the
mhm,
other thing I want to call out too is yes, Scott Harris, we can have our roster construction complaints, but like at what point are we going to start criticizing AJ Hinch? Like he has not pulled the right pieces in the bullpen for a lot of games this season. And yes, you've gotten a lot of underperforming from Vest. Yes, you've gotten a lot of, underperformance from Kenley Jansen, but like if he trots out Kenley Jansen to make the next available save in
yeah.
whatever game they're playing, I like we got to
Well,
start
who else are you gonna
criticizing him.
throw out
The
there? Drew Anderson?
well, I mean, yeah, times are tough right now, but I mean, look at the game yesterday. Okay, this is just not even bullpen related. Matt
Mhm,
Vierling was batting 4 in this lineup.
mm.
Like what? I mean, like that's just like some smartest guy in the room stuff that like honestly has not
Jahmai
been working
Jones
out this
batting
season.
third doesn't get you going. You don't like
Yeah,
that?
I mean, it's just there's been some head scratching moves from AJ Hinch, and a lot of people have a lot of goodwill built up for AJ Hinch that, 2 years ago he went on this generational run and we were starting relief pitchers every day, and it was just like this fairy tale magical
Because you had a
run.
good bullpen. You
But
had a good bullpen to work with. That was the difference. Yeah, you had dudes that could close things out. You don't have that right now. It's
yeah, yeah, I mean,
who
it
in their
was like the
bullpen's
cast of
good.
characters with Bo Brisky and Holton and all those,
Yeah.
all those guys. A lot. It's just, yeah, he has
I mean,
not pulled the right strings at
I
all.
mean, it's good to know also that Casey Mize is still made of glass too. That's always a good thing as well.
I mean,
15-day
how do you get
IL. Who
yeah.
knows when he's going to be back? It could
I mean,
be June, could be July.
yeah,
I don't see
how do
him.
you tear or like strain your groin going and fielding a ground ball? Like with the
It's
amount of
tough, dude.
like,
It's tough. It's really hard to
the
do.
amount of like pressure these dudes are putting on their bodies when they're throwing a pitch and you can't walk off the mound and field a ground ball without like tearing your groin is just unbelievable.
And you got Javi getting injured too. That was a tough one.
Yeah, Javi's injured. The injury bug is hitting the Tigers, especially, I think the bright spot about the bullpen being so bad, you can kind of look down the line and say like, hey, we're probably getting Troy Melton back soon.
You can hope. Yeah, yeah, he's still
Hopefully you're
recovering.
getting Jackson Job,
Which you would, I don't expect him
down the
back to
line.
the end of the season. Yeah,
Yeah,
if and who
it's gonna
knows
it's gonna
what,
be a while, but
dude? He got injured. Like, who knows what happens in those sort of things? Like,
yeah.
so
There.
injuries are injuries. Dudes don't come back the same sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes they do and they're great, and sometimes they don't. Like
there
it just depends.
there's a lot of question marks, but maybe you move a guy like Cater Montero, who I would say I think his ERA is around like 4. Um, I would say that that's pretty good for a guy like Cater Montero. Maybe you move him to the bullpen as kind of like
Oh
a
yeah, he's
long relief
starting
guy.
AAA in this season. It's exactly 4,
Yeah,
by the way. And I mean, he's a dude that I think should be like a longer starter, to be fair. But
yeah,
I mean, a reliever, or you get him from the bullpen, and it's like he can eat up some innings and that sort of thing. I don't think he's a bad piece, but he's going to be your starter until you get Justin Verlander back, Casey Mize back. Like, and I don't think you're getting Justin Verlander back. Like, I don't know when he's going to be back. It seems like there's not really progress there, and well, we'll see what happens. But
yeah.
that's again where you sign older dudes. Their bodies are older. It takes a while to recover. It's just what it is. And something about those veteran signings that dudes are injured. Scott Harris loves. So
And Verlander's been throwing bullpens, but at this point, it's looking like something that he's just probably going to be battling all year. I don't know if it's
yeah,
going to
but
fully heal.
like,
And
and he could show up, come back and throw 3 innings, and that's it, and say that it's not happening, and then they shut it down again. Who knows?
I
Like
mean,
seriously.
the Tigers really want Melton to be a starter, it seems like. Like, I'm plugging that guy into my closing role and having him throw high 90s to
Mhm.
100s because the Tigers do not have guys that can throw like, that are flamethrowers coming out of their bullpen in late innings. Like they just again, it's this fixation on like guys that throw slower, guys that like are junk pitchers like Tommy Canley, and like it's honestly
Yeah,
mind blowing. Like it
you're
seems
right. He
so
was
simple to follow
trash.
the blueprint. Yeah, it seems so simple to follow the blueprint of like, can you just find a guy that throws like high 90s out of your bullpen? Like they just do not want that. They just like old guys that throw a bunch of junk pitches that are like washed up guys that they think they can fix that have been
Mhm.
good like 10 years ago. Like, no, Kenley Jansen's one of the best closers of all time, but like, dude, he's like 40 now. This is
He would
not
have.
10
I
years
mean,
ago. Like, can we,
these pictures they got, they would be, if this was like 2014, they'd be goaded. They have
yeah,
a
can
really
we
good
get Kenley
bullpen.
Jansen from 10 years ago? Like, I don't want this version of Kenley Jansen. Like, this dude's washed. Like, it's so frustrating. And again, like,
And it's not his
reemphasize the
fault
point.
though. He's old. I don't blame. I don't blame him whatsoever. He's old. Like it just
Yeah.
happens. You lose your
It,
ability, and your snap on your pitches, and your velocity goes down a little bit. I I don't know what you do right now because I don't think you don't cut him or anything, but it's just hard to trot him out there with a 1, 2 run lead, 3 run lead, and feel good about it at the moment. So unless you're facing a bad team, which they do beat up on the bad teams, like the Boston Red Sox, they didn't have a manager less than a week later. So
yeah. It's, it's going to be a struggle for the foreseeable future with this team that their bullpen's going to struggle.
mhm.
And
The good
again,
news
it's
though,
people. Yeah.
I was just going to say in a week they get to play the Red Sox again. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to that series because the Tigers can win games they're supposed to, but
And it's at home too,
we've,
so you got to feel even better.
yeah,
And then you get the
th-
Mets, middle of May, so you get some bad teams. So they'll juice that record back up. Don't worry about it.
that's true. But we've gotten to the point where like, yeah, you can say it's like hypothetically still early, but we're starting to get to the judgment period of the season, and we're starting to get a large enough sample size to really have like concrete takes about this team and see, what kind of team they're going to be for the season. And the back end of this bullpen is going to be, the bane of our existence. And it's already led to, at least four gut wrenching games, which is hard to do in April. Like, it is hard to have that many heartbreaking losses so early in a season, but the Tigers have found a way to do that, which is unfortunate.
The city of Detroit is the kings of
I
regular
know I can't,
seasons, man.
I the
Really
Pistons
good at
win
regular
and like
seasons.
Yeah, this entire Piston series has been so just like tough to watch. Like it has been gut-wrenching. And they finally win, and I'm like, I got the MLB app open on my phone. I'm watching the play-by-play of the Tigers. The Pistons win. I'm happy. And then I don't even have like 2 minutes to celebrate because I just get the like notification that says in play runs. And then like I just see home run pop up on the screen, and it's laughable. You can't even enjoy the wins. It's tough being a Detroit sports fan nowadays.
No, it was well when we first did this podcast, it was a lot worse. Let's be honest. It's
Yeah,
gotten better. It's gotten
yeah,
better.
at least we have like stuff to talk about.
Like if you talk to yourself 5 years ago, you would say, "Man, I would kill to be in your position right now." You're living life
You
good,
know, my
man.
sa my saving grace is that I have Michigan to save me for all the
Yeah,
Sparties out there. Like I talk to my
good.
brother all the time about this. Like, dude, that
They're
guy's
good.
it's tough, man. At least Michigan's won it all, and hopefully we get some Detroit teams that can do that in the next 5 years or
Mm,
hopefully at least our lifetimes. But
mm,
yeah, got to turn around for Detroit, and we got to get teams that are serious about winning, and no more of this like we're gonna wait and see and develop. Like, no, we got
mm.
to identify windows and we got to
I
chase something.
I like to hang up divisional banners. Those are the best. Divisional crowns.
Well, the
Regular
Tigers didn't even
season
do that.
divisional crowns. Yeah, but the Lions did.
One seed's in Detroit, man. I mean, we're not capable of being one seeds. Like that can't be us. But at
Uh,
least we have the glory days of the Lions almost making the Super Bowl. Like that
that was pretty
when I'm
awesome. They almost made it.
yeah,
It's
when
more
I'm
than you can
80,
say for a long time.
when I'm 80, I'll just be like thinking about that playoff run that the Lions had, even though they didn't even make the
Half
Super
away.
Bowl.
They're half away. They should
Tough
have
out
just knocked
here.
him out. They shouldn't have come out of the locker room after that. Just said, we're going home.
Hate to see it. All right, well, we're at a final minute of our recording time. It's been a good episode. Glad that we're gonna have another opportunity for another Pistons game to keep their season alive. Hopefully the Tigers can find some magic like the Pistons did in their win today
Oh.
against the Magic. So
Or will the
we will
magic
see.
run out?
Let's hope not. Oh, and it's been a great episode of the Triple Play Podcast. Again, I'm Nick Koski alongside my co-host Owen Oszust. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you all in the next episode.